Kirstie Alley not returning to Star Trek meant another character turned traitor in the last original series movie. When Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan premiered in 1982, it introduced audiences to one of the franchise's most fascinating new characters, Lt. Saavik, a young half-Vulcan, half-Romulan Starfleet officer portrayed by Kirstie Alley. Saavik embodied the next generation of Starfleet, a brilliant, disciplined officer who still carried traces of humanity in her half-Romulan heritage. Fans expected she would become a fixture in the original series films, perhaps even Spock's heir in terms of narrative significance. But behind the scenes, Alley's departure from the role after Wrath of Khan reshaped the course of the film franchise in ways many forget. Most notably, it shifted who would carry the burden of betrayal in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, the last hurrah for Captain Kirk's crew. The Road Not Taken. Saavik's Dark Path. Nicholas Meyer, who directed Wrath of Khan and returned to helm The Undiscovered Country, has confirmed in interviews that his original plan was for Saavik to return as a traitor in the final original series film. The idea was bold. The young officer who had once stood by Spock's side would ultimately betray the Federation, aligning herself with the conspiracy to assassinate Klingon Chancellor Gorkin and sabotage peace. It would have been devastating to audiences who had come to respect Saavik's intelligence and loyalty. A Vulcan-trained officer turning against Starfleet would have mirrored the very themes The Undiscovered Country explored: fear of change, prejudice, and the difficulty of letting go of old enemies. Kirk's crew faced their own biases about Klingons, but Saavik's betrayal would have given those tensions a deeply personal sting. Instead, because Kirstie Alley declined to return to the role, the traitor's mantle fell to a brand new character, Lieutenant Valeries, played by Kim Cattrall. Why Alley walked away? Kirstie Alley's absence wasn't due to creative disagreements about Saavik's trajectory. It was a matter of contract negotiations. After her breakout performance in Wrath of Khan, Alley reportedly wanted a salary that Paramount was unwilling to pay. The studio recast Saavik with Robin Curtis in Star Trek III: The Search for Spock and Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, but even then, the character's role diminished with each appearance. By the time The Undiscovered Country rolled around in 1991, Saavik had effectively disappeared from the films. Robin Curtis was not invited back, and Nicholas Meyer was hesitant to recast Saavik yet again for such a pivotal role. Instead, Meyer and Leonard Nimoy, who co-wrote the story, created Valeries, a completely new Vulcan protege for Spock. Enter Valeries, a new traitor. Kim Cattrall's Valeries stepped into the narrative as Spock's brightest pupil, logical, disciplined, and destined for greatness. She embodied everything Starfleet hoped for in its future, which made her betrayal sting even more. When it's revealed that Valeries is part of the conspiracy to prolong the Federation-Klingon conflict, the moment lands like a gut punch. The betrayal is personal for Spock, who trusted her implicitly, and it devastates him to discover she put her faith in fear and prejudice rather than hope and progress. Valeries is not Saavik, but she fills the same narrative slot Meyer had once envisioned. Her treachery functions as a reminder that logic can be twisted to serve dark ends, that even Vulcan ideals are not immune to corruption when fear takes hold. What could have been? Saavik as the villain. If Alley had stayed, or if Paramount had allowed Saavik to continue as intended, The Undiscovered Country might have played very differently. Imagine the heartbreak of Spock having to confront Saavik, the officer he had mentored since Wrath of Khan. Their shared history, including her critical role in his rebirth in the search for Spock, would have made her betrayal feel almost Shakespearean in scope. It would have added layers of tragedy. Spock would not only question his students' loyalty, but also his own judgment as a teacher. Kirk, too, would be confronted with the idea that even the next generation of Starfleet officers carried the same prejudices and fears he had wrestled with throughout his career. Saavik's betrayal could have served as the ultimate test of whether the Federation's ideals could truly endure. Instead, Valeries gave audiences a clean slate, a character with no baggage, whose treachery shocked but did not devastate in the same way. Why Valeries worked anyway? While fans